I'm being sculpted by you. And it's all because your mother was going to kill you in transition year, basically.
So funny to start with that. Yeah, it's gas. Like, I don't know how you were, but like, when I think back to, you know, we had to do like workplace in the transition year.
Horrendous. Well, it was great, but it was panicking trying to find something.
But that's exactly it. And I was actually a really studious kid, but I just didn't have work experience organised. I remember my mom being like, I'm going to murder you if you don't get this organised. It was in like 2 weeks' time or something.
I know, the pressure.
So she was managing in House Fraser at the time, that was still there in Dundrum, and on the 3rd floor, so totally separate to cosmetics. So she was like, get down there now and ask that manager if you can have a job. And they gave me one in benefit, and it was great. Obviously hadn't a clue about makeup. Like, I was a girly girl, but like...
Yeah. I was going to say, like, did you actually...
No!
Was makeup a passion?
I often say, like, I actually feel bad for those first few customers I had because they probably left the counter going, is this real life?
And if they got their makeup done for like a jabs or anything, they're probably traumatised still.
But you know what, it was the best experience ever. Like, even I always say, outside of like learning about makeup, and obviously that later then chose my career.
Yes.
From a confidence point of view, like my first day on that shop floor, in my official kind of part-time job, also thought I had the coolest part-time job ever, which I kind of did.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
So like every Saturday and Sunday, a few late nights I'd be in there, but they'd be like, okay, Aimee, we're going to get you to start traffic stopping now. And I was like, what's traffic stopping?
Are you getting the high vis on?
Well, basically you have to go and like interrupt/harass a person browsing shoes and being like, can I interest you in this mascara?
That's unnerving. That is unnerving.
I was literally shaking in my boots. But then I would say 4 to 6 months into it, it like did wonders for my confidence. Like that for me was the most formative part of my teens, where not that I was like super shy, but I was definitely a little bit more conscious and self-conscious.
And I suppose like that kind of is like the work experience benefit. Like really it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
It's about getting out and doing something. And then in your case, ended up being an empire in the end. Like did you ever think you'd get that from the work experience?
No, but it's funny, like when I think back to my time on counter, and even before that, like I was always the kid who was like, you know, outside your house selling like lemonade or like whatever I could to make a quick buck, even though like it was like 10 cents. So yeah, I have to say I really, really felt that work experience, well, it did, like it totally led me to this career. Like I think if you'd asked me when I was in school, just before 4th year or transition year, what I wanted to be, I would have said a teacher. Absolutely loved teaching. Still do, and obviously having the Makeup Academy is
you're
great.
teaching makeup in that way,
because you're mixing the two together. But actually, ultimately, business for me was the winner. It's obviously what I consequently went on to study. But yeah, my love of makeup very much developed from then.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, like, because a lot of people might say, oh, you know, I don't think I'll bother with transition year because, and everyone has their own reason and that's fully fine, but I really think that it was a game-changing year for me. And in terms of like personal growth, confidence, career development, all that kind of thing. So I highly recommend that everyone does it.
And it's nice as well that like people can get bogged down, you know, oh gosh, I don't know what I want to do when I'm older. I need to decide. I've learned myself anyway, career-wise, there's nothing is going to top life experience when it comes to getting into your path. You can't predict anything.
Yeah, I think it's very easy for people to get really bogged down about like what their path is, exactly what they want to do, feeling so passionate about something. Like, I don't have those moments where I'm running the brand going, that lecture is exactly what I'm doing now, do you know?
Yeah, totally.
And like, don't get me wrong, I adored college, but like, I don't know, I think on the job learning, like you said, nothing will beat it.
How's my face, Aimee?
It's stunning.
Oh, thank you so much.
That concealer really just added a top notch to it.
I was already embalmed as it was, but I knew I was coming in, so I left a bit of room. And come here, in school then, like, were you a bit of a nerd?
I loved school.
Wow.
Like, I was the type of kid, and I don't know if my business teacher will ever hear this, but like...
I hope they're watching.
For my leaving cert, like in 5th and 6th year, I used to like be outside the door when he would leave the class, being like, hello, mister, I have done these extra essays, if you could please correct them. I'd say he was like, I need you to get
I've lost a bit of respect for you there now, I'm sorry.
I did, I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I was really studious, but in saying that, and again, kind of in later years in school, so 5th and 6th year, I, although really wanted good grades and really put time into study, I was always very good at managing a deadline because I was still working all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
That's worth noting. So you were still in the makeup counter the whole weekend in Leaving
right
Cert?
Up to my Leaving Cert.
Wow.
Yeah, even through the Leaving Cert. Because at that stage, like nothing beats having your own independence, of making your own money, you know, having a job that you enjoy. I didn't want to give it up. And I think how I am as a person, I'm used to packing a lot in. I still operate the same way.
Yes, you were one busy lady.
So like if I was studying, if I had 2 hours in the weekend to fit my study in, I would do it because I genuinely wanted to do it, or I wanted to make sure I got it done. If you'd given me the whole weekend with no part-time job, I'd probably still only use that 2 hours of the weekend, do you know?
Yes, I get you.
I put massive expectations on myself. And, you know, I say that in a way for anyone watching this who maybe does the same. It came from nowhere. Like there was no higher power or parent saying like, you need to do this and you need to achieve this. Even the course I was going into, I studied commerce and French. So the points that I wanted for myself in my Leaving Cert were very different to the points that were necessary on the course. It was pure self-expectation. And sometimes that's not that good either because you carry such high levels of what you need to achieve for yourself to be happy that, you know, it can go either way sometimes. But I do think that that's what fueled me to kind of start my own business as well and to keep it going and push myself forward because I've had those expectations. So once you can manage it yourself, I do think it's no harm. And everyone's just different that way.
Aimee, did you find the school, were they supportive? Because it's not the most conventional career path to want to take.
I think maybe people might have assumed that I'd go potentially like the medicine route or something that was classically associated with those kind of points.
And did you ever think you'd go that kind of medicine route? No.
I always knew I wouldn't.
Okay.
I think you have to be really passionate about what you want to do, or at least have a feeling of what you want to do.
And I suppose there's no point in doing something if you feel it's expected of you by someone else. That's the worst thing you can do, I think.
That's it, exactly. And like at this stage, by the time I was in Leaving Cert, I had like 2 or 3 years, give or take, working part-time. And although it's still part-time, it was a really good business learning for me. You know, even the sense of like, you're saving money, you're earning money, you're buying things for yourself, you're being more independent. My school were definitely on the academic side of things and would have loved to have pushed that side. But I was very sure on business and really was excited for the course.
And what was the best bit of advice that you got in school?
I think like around that age profile of kind of like 14 to 18, a lot of it was like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, which is something that, again, coming back to my earlier point, not that I was like a really, really shy child, but I was definitely less confident than what I was in later years from pushing myself in my comfort zone, traffic stopping when I was working, or, you know, having to be really confident when you're dealing with all sorts of customers and walks of life on a counter. And then also in school via, you know, sports, different societies, etc., that you can get involved in and committees. So I think that was something that was really important to me and to my mom as well. And
you mentioned your mum so much, Aimee, and you're so close. She was so supportive of you. But for some students, that's not the case. That's okay as well. You just have to kind of have the faith in yourself and know that this is what I want to do.
That's it. And I think, you know, you have to have the faith in yourself to know what you want to do. But you also have to relax, and it's okay if you're not entirely sure. I think that can really overwhelm people. And I totally get that, because you're like, this is my whole life. I'm leaving school and I'm supposed to have this massive pathway that's geared out for me. It doesn't always happen like that. And you may still go to college and decide it's not for me. You have so much time. Like, you're still so young at that age.
Oh, at that age you think, now when I'm 27, I'll be married.
Yeah.
3 kids. No,
yeah.
Doesn't happen.
No.
It'll be grand.
Exactly. It will always work out. I think you have to back yourself. You have to be really honest with yourself if it's not working out, and try something else, because this is something that you're going to spend a career in potentially, and a huge part of your life. So the last thing you want to do is get to your 30s and go, I hate this.
It all kind of merged together for you. You were doing business, and then you ended up doing the kind of digital marketing aspect of it, which only further encouraged you with Sculpted then. So
I had to major in 2 things. I chose tax and digital marketing. And like you said, digital marketing is very much in line.
Now, Aimee, I have to ask, did you willingly chose tax?
I adore
I still don't
tax.
know what tax is. It's something that I pay at the end of the year and hope for the best.
I know, I'm a bit like that myself now, but I just loved it. I loved the sums. I loved that it evened out. Anyway, weirdo. But it was so different to digital marketing, which was great. So I had like total polar opposites. But even when I was in college, so I was still working in makeup. So that was brilliant for me to be able to continue a makeup career part-time. Again, keeping up the busy schedule, was used to that, loved the deadlines, studying business full-time. And naturally, social media and digital marketing was becoming more and more of what I was doing. So you're going back like 8 to 10 years ago now, which is terrifying. Social media wasn't as big of a thing as it is now. It wasn't as developed, it wasn't as advanced. So things like Facebook pages and blogs and stuff were only kind of really coming into their own.
Yes, people just had their own kind of personal Facebook or whatever, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as a business page even.
Exactly. So one of my makeup pages at the start was one of the first kind of intros into that, and it really performed. So that was really beneficial because I was physically operating those pages in line with learning about it. And I would say the learning was probably slightly behind the times because naturally it's such a new world that's evolving that they can't keep up probably quick enough. And it's obviously transformed massively now.
You kind of took a chance on it with social media and your Facebook page, totally paid off. So that's kind of worth noting for anyone in school nowadays. If new things are coming to the fore on social media, give them a go. As I always say, if you have a social media account, you have your own broadcasting station, whether it's TikTok or Instagram. It's your own page and you can do what you want and you can create your own space. Yeah,
social is a great way for people to be really creative and really put their own stamp on who they are and explore, creative flair they might have. And I would always recommend that people do that and put themselves out there and try it. But at the same time, I do think there's massive value in having your degree and maybe exploring a different career path and being able to keep both. So like that, I was very keen on finishing my business degree, even though I kind of knew for 99% sure that I was going to go into makeup. And I have no regrets in that, like from the college experience to the physical, having the degree for later life. I wouldn't be against keeping an open mind to one career, but also trialing something else on the side for yourself if it is a more creative thing, and straddling the two, because I think it's totally doable.
What was it about working for yourself that made you want to delve into the entrepreneurship?
I feel like I just didn't consider anything else, being totally honest. So I often joke now, having the company, that like I have no experience in any corporation or like a corporate ladder or like what jobs are. So I'm learning all of the time. But I think working for myself from that age, backing myself, having faith in that what I was going to do was going to work out, saving to be able to financially invest in myself and do it. I just thought when I was 22 and I graduated, I was watching all of my peers, do the graduate programs and fill out applications for various corporations. And I was like, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to go for it myself and hope for the best.
I want to hear the best piece of advice that you got and the worst piece of advice.
So
you don't have to name names.
I'll start with the worst. It wasn't necessarily that it was advice, it was more people's reaction. So, you get the odd one or two people, and I get it, like there's risk involved when you work for yourself, when you invest in yourself and all those things. And they'd be like, God, you're mad. Would you not maybe take a bit of time in this company first, learn the ropes, and then go into it and delve into it? And there's merit in that as well. Whereas I was like, no, I'm totally happy to go out on my own, figure this out, on the job learning as I go. Best bits of advice I often say comes back to what my mom would always have instilled in me. Really simple, and it's to go with your gut, and your instinct is there for a reason. And it's something I still rely on to this day. I think like when you are an entrepreneur or you work for yourself or you're in whatever job that you're in, you can very quickly doubt yourself and think, oh, I don't know the answer to that. Actually, your gut is there and it's telling you a lot more than probably what you realise. So I still use that heavily to this day. Something that I've learned myself, which I think stands to any phase of life, be it study, school, sports, work. What I've learned over the company's history is problems will always happen. And I don't mean that in a really negative sense to have doom and gloom, but it's a reality. Problems are going to occur. And to me, my biggest learning is how I react to them. So rather than that instant panic of, oh my God, this is terrible, I'm overthinking everything. You try and take a minute, the situation's happening, and you try and be solution focused. So you're like, okay, this is out of my control. So how can I manage it? What can I do to help it? Which I think you could literally base into any situation that you're going through.
For anyone at any stage of life, particularly in school, trying to decide things, if you want to do a certain thing, but something kind of goes in your way, you might get a bad result in a mock or something. Yeah. Would you let that kind of stop you, or would you say, no, that's something I'm going to deal with and move on?
Well, that's it exactly. Like, I think that mentality is so important because you're going to get knocks. You have to just take a minute and focus on what you can do and work hard as well to be sure that you can get it back if it is that particular situation. But I definitely wouldn't give up. I think life, there's too much involved in terms of where you're putting yourself on a career path to give up that easy. So you have to have a bit of grit and back yourself.
What advice would you give someone who's considering starting out in their own business?
First and foremost, I would say to trust yourself. I would say not to overwhelm yourself that you don't know everything. I think we can be really guilty when you're entering a new business, and I was exactly like this at 19 or 22 when I was starting the brand, where you think, oh, I don't know logistics, I don't know freight, I don't know financials of cost of goods and stuff. It's okay, because you'll learn. And I think one of the best traits that entrepreneurs have, or business owners, is that they have the confidence to go and find the answers. So I would just rest assured that no one has all of the answers. No one knows exactly how to do it. Part of that journey of learning is actually figuring it out along the way, and you'll be surprised at how helpful people are with their time, particularly when it's someone younger starting out, because it's like, well done, good on you. I think more specifically, if you're thinking of getting into the product or service business, just because the world is so busy now, you know, social media has made it so accessible, which is amazing for people to have businesses, but it's made it really saturated. That I would really know your product. I think it can be really easy to be like, oh, that person's doing that online. That looks really enticing. I'm going to do that. Absolutely have that get up and go to do it. But know your product, know what the competitors are. So if you imagine yourself going into a buyer's meeting, the first question they'll probably ask you is, why would I buy yours instead of X, Y, and Z? So you need to know what's really special about your product. No one will sell it like you will with your passion for it. And have a good awareness of other products or services that are competing against it.
We love the bit of social media. We are both obsessed, Aimee. How important was it to you when you were starting Sculpted to get that kind of brand identity and awareness?
I think anyone who's looking to start a business nowadays, you would be mad to not consider social. So like I mentioned earlier, it's always been part of my journey as an actual makeup artist, having a Facebook page that then transitioned into Instagram, and now we have the brand page. And it is so invaluable to us in so many senses, more so than what probably people would consider. So yes, it's a way to market yourself, it's a way to get notices out, it's a way to get awareness, it's a way to grow, but it's a brilliant education tool for us. So at Sculpted, we are very much about making makeup easier. So that simplicity of showing simple tips, how we can make people feel like the best version of themselves. And social allows you to do that in an instant, so easily, and it's so visual. And also it's a brilliant way to build a rapport with your community and your database. So we'll have customers who will literally know within 30 seconds if they love a product. They'll be able to tell us they got it on time. They'll be able to see it, you know, straight away, send us pictures wherever they are around the world as we build globally. So it's just an invaluable tool in so many ways that, like I said, if you were considering anything or if you're a business that doesn't have it yet, more often than not, depending on the sector, I would say it's an absolute must.
I'm guessing there are moments where you've had to be a bit resilient. Yeah. Has the back ever been up against the wall majorly? Oh
my God, yeah. All of the time. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm so proud of the brand success. I'm so proud of the amazing team that I have working on it. But there's a lot of pressure. Do you know, like when we have 36 people and counting now, like that's their livelihoods that's dependent on this brand success. And
I have anxiety thinking about that, Aimee. Yeah. I can barely get myself out of the bed in the morning.
And also, no one teaches you how to run a team. Do you know? So, like, I got into this business because I was so passionate about the product, about the solution, about the formulas. All these things come after it that you're like, wow, okay, now I'm a HR manager and now I'm this. But it's been the most phenomenal 6 years. But yes, there have definitely been very, very testing times. When I think back to the beginning, which I think, you know, showed, I suppose, a bit of my naivety and probably innocence coming into this. I was a very, you know, confident in myself and what I wanted to achieve 22-year-old and was like emailing manufacturers in Europe. Most of them didn't even respond. Fair enough. I was coming with zero benchmarks on what I could do volume-wise with products. I was like, hiya, I'm makeup artist, that's what I want to do. And there was one company that kindly came back and I hopped on a plane 2 days later and we produced the first product together. But I felt after about 6 months of working with them that I just wasn't getting the same professional experience that other suppliers were. And there was a little bit of a patronisation of like, oh, you know, who's this blondie, 22, maybe doesn't know a whole pile, will take slight advantage, or so I felt anyway. And I definitely felt back up against the wall because they were my only supplier. I was reliant on them for a reorder. It was very delayed. The packaging wasn't at the level that I wanted, being totally honest. But it was one of the best experiences I went through so early on because it forced me to go into a boardroom with scary figures sitting there saying, you know, I will walk from this business if you don't improve quality or experience.
Wow.
And they kind of half laughed and thought, you know, you don't really
Who's
know
your
what you're
mom?
doing. Yeah, you won't. And I walked out of that meeting, flew to South Korea 3 weeks later, still work with that amazing manufacturing partner. And it was the best thing I ever did because it forced me to kind of use my wings and fly away from the security of them as a company. So I definitely felt up against it in terms of the pressure because I just sold into buyers. They were like, when's the reorder? Little did they know there was no reorder, there was no stock. And then, of course, you go through the usual financials at the beginning when you're trying to make ends meet and be sure that you get paid on time when you're paying suppliers and paying for product. But yeah, there's been many, many moments, and they still happen. They're just different levels of stresses because you get used to some things going wrong and then some things you're going through for the first time. But that's where you have to really hold strong, build a bit of grit, and it makes you stronger. Like, I'm far more less concerned about some issues that happen because I'm like, oh, that'll be fine. We'll figure that out. Whereas 2 or 3, 4 years ago, I'd have been like, oh my God, that's a disaster. Do you know?
And social media, as we know, always evolving, constantly changing. Anyone in school now who's looking at maybe starting their own business or getting into social media, where do you think it's going? How's it going to evolve in the future?
I think TikTok is only going to get bigger. And I think TikTok has very much promoted this pared back, organic, literal mishmash of content. So regardless of whether you're known, whether you have an influence, you can literally go viral. And the influence of those viral products is phenomenal. Like, we see it in stores, you see it in sales, you can see it in sellouts around the world. So I think that TikTok is definitely something to be super mindful of. And I think also making sure that you look at the social media different channels in their differences. Do you know? So like Facebook needs different content to what Instagram does to what TikTok does.
And have you found, in a refreshing way, maybe years ago more traditional brands might have really stuck their nose up to social media, whereas now they're all like, oh, I'll have a bit of that.
Oh,
please.
now they're scraping at the barrel.
Yes!
No, it is. It's great. And like that, it's just something you can't ignore. You know, it's something that's been taken so seriously that has literally propelled businesses from nothing to skyrocket. And it's incredible. Like I said, it's instant. It allows you to show your fun side, your creative side, the serious side, whatever you want it to be. And it's interesting. Like, we're constantly looking at trends now, trying to stay on top of things and be ahead. And like, what is possible and what will be available is such an interesting space.
Now it is time to put ourselves to the test. Aimee, I would love to sculpt thine visage.
Oh my God.
I'm not bad with the makeup.
I'd be honoured.
Well, we'll see how we get on. Yeah. Aimee, shall I modify the T-zone?
Please.
It has to be done. Come here though, in like business and life in general, I suppose, did you have one person who was a big inspiration for you?
Yeah, I think there's been loads of people over the years. I think like when I think back to being younger, and I probably didn't realise it at the time, like my mom was a massive influence. She has worked so hard. Again, you know, as a single mom, she had no choice but to. But she's always had such tenacity and like get up and go of like, yeah, of course I can do this. So that definitely got passed on to me, probably way more so than I realised. So I always looked up to her. And then I think in terms of like general cosmetics, there's so many global leaders like the Emily Weiss of Glossier, the Charlotte Tilbury of Charlotte Tilbury, like people that really give you the motivation, the inspiration to be like, you can do this and like it can go really big. So I still have people all the time that inspire me, or I might read a book or listen to a podcast. But yeah, there's been many people.
Including me.
Including you.
And my expert T-zone modification.
Exactly.
Yes.
On your MUA tips.
Oh, what can I say? Just amazing. You know, and actually amazing has been your year. The last 12 months, phenomenal. What, if you could even pick one, would be the biggest highlight?
Oh, that is such a good question. I think we're really lucky to have had loads of highlights. I think as a growing business, you know, you can have every month that has this massive moment that everyone celebrates. I think I always look back in the last year, can I be really bold and give you 2? Because it is impossible.
Well, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to have to put some more blush on.
That's fine.
So, go for it.
First one being opening Grafton Street. Obviously, we're here today.
This is pretty cool, Aimee.
And do you know what? There's something about seeing like a bricks and mortar physical presence that has literally brought people out of the woodworks from when I was like 5 years old and wouldn't have seen them since, because it's like fair play. So it's been amazing. And then secondly would have to be launching across the UK with Boots. Like that was such a big, significant moment for the brand, and it's something we've been waiting for so long. So it just even is a testament to like the hard work is building to this. There's still loads of work to be done, but yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Aimee, my last question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
My 16-year-old self. My personal advice that I would have given to my 16-year-old self would be to try and not care as much what other people think. And like, to be honest, I still sometimes struggle with that, but I've definitely gotten better. But I think as a younger girl, teenager, like you already have loads going on as a teenager. Do you know, you've got like hormones, you've got friends, you've got all that kind of stuff. I really cared what other people thought. I'm not saying that like you carry yourself in a way that isn't fully respectful or anything like that, but I cared too much that it probably impacted what I did sometimes, or how I felt, or what level of overthinking I gave to something. So yeah, I think I would try and ease up on that, because it works out. You make your friends and you keep those real friends for life.
So basically, who cares? And just give it a lash.
Basically.
Do your mascara now, speaking of lashes?
You cannot.
Perfect. Aimee, thanks a mil.
Thanks for having me.